Are we on the verge of societal collapse? Most of us worry about nuclear war, asteroids, and solar flares when we think about end of the world as we know it scenarios. The current pandemic and lockdowns are having a devastating effect on the world, and these could easily lead to the collapse of society. Hey everybody, Hill Country Prepper. Appreciate you guys checking out my videos. Thanks to all my subscribers. Appreciate the comments, keep them coming. Just want to say thanks for that. Are we on the verge of societal collapse? Here are the 5 things we need to be aware of that will happen if society does collapse. Number 1, utilities and basic services will fail. Now by utilities, I mean water. What are you going to use to drink? What are you going to use to prepare your food? What are you going to prepare to bathe yourself with? Also, another utility is electricity. A lot of people use electricity to heat their homes and cool their homes, and also for preparing their meals. They cook with electricity. Obviously, electricity is used for lighting, but it's also used for maintaining and keeping medical equipment running. Natural gas is another utility that you'll see fail. Again, a lot of people use natural gas to cook. They also use natural gas to heat their homes. Public sewage is another utility you won't have access to. Now, if you do have a septic system, you'll get by for a little while, but I just mean a very short while before your system will back up into your house. What about trash collection? How will you dispose of your trash? You can't just put it in a big old pile. Do you know how to burn your trash? Do you know how to extinguish a fire if it gets out of hand? How about basic services that we all take for granted, like police, law enforcement? They're not going to be around anymore. Fire protection. You're not going to be able to call the fire department. Emergency medical technicians. They're not going to be available. And what about medical and dental? You're not going to be able to run down and get a checkup. You're not going to be able to get in to see the dentist whenever you have a toothache or you lose a crown. They're not going to be around. And lastly, what about mortuary services? What are we going to do with the dead? And there will be dead because people die every day. And when society collapses, there'll be a lot more people dying. Secondly, when society collapses, you will see the stores close. Grocery stores will not be open. Where are you going to get your food? Discretionary services won't be available. I'm talking about stuff like barbers, auto repair. Can you fix and repair your own automobile? Fueling stations. Things like heating oil, gasoline, diesels, propane. They're not going to be open. General merchandise, clothing, tools. Do you have a good pair of shoes? Because there will not be any shoe stores open. And the pharmacies will close. You will not be able to run down to the pharmacy to get your prescription filled. You will not be able to run down there to get a box of Band-Aids or an analgesic or some cold medicine. Nothing. There will be no more pharmacies. Third, supplies will run out. Food, water, fuel, medication, staples, everything you need in everyday life. Basic items for personal hygiene, toilet paper, feminine items, anything that you need will run out. Fourth, people will die. One of the reasons people will die is their medications will run out. People that have diabetes, people that have heart conditions, people that are taking psychotic drugs, medications will run out and people will die. There will be a shortage of statins. There will be a shortage of beta blockers. People will also die because they're out of shape. They're either obese, they've been eating a poor diet for way too long, they're not physically active, or they're involved with substance abuse. These people will die. People will also die because of mental illness and depression. There will be suicides. There will also be accidents and injuries. Some of these accidents will be automobile accidents. Remember, there is no more law enforcement. People will also die in house fires. This could be the result of improper use of the cook stove, not knowing how to use the fireplace. There will also be accidental firearm discharges. This could be due to a lack of training, and there may also be hunting accidents. You're also going to see injuries and deaths caused by knife, axe, and chainsaw use. And again, this will be because people are not trained. They could be chopping wood and have an axe accident, or using a chainsaw. People will also die because they fall. This could be because of improper footwear. It could be because of stress and fatigue. It could be because of poor nutrition. It could be because of all the clutter and debris that's going to be around, or it could just be that they're disoriented. If you find this video helpful, why don't you press down on that thumbs up button and give me a like. And if you're not a subscriber yet, why not? Subscribe now. And if you press on that little bell, you get notified every time I upload new content. So do it now. People are also going to die because of incorrect self-medication. They may overdose, they may mix drugs that they shouldn't, and they're going to die. People will also die from wild animals. When society collapses, people are not going to keep their pets. We're seeing people already that are letting their pets go that they tuck in during the lockdowns. So expect to see wild, roving gangs of dogs. People will also die from the unsanitary conditions that are going to result. I'm talking about cholera, dysentery, and hepatitis. People will also die because of other people's negligence or direct act. Remember, everybody's going to be looking out for themselves. And because everybody will be looking out for themselves, that brings us to number 5. Everybody will be a threat. Those that don't have will want to come and take from those that do have. Friends and neighbors will turn on each other. What would you do to provide for your family? You just don't know until you're put into that situation. People will also be a threat because of the psychoactive and psychotropic medications will run out. What I mean by this is Xanax, Prozac, and Zoloft. Those prescriptions are not going to get filled, remember, because the pharmacies are closed. What has been holding these people in check for all these years will no longer be available. Another threat that we can expect to see is that the useful idiots of this country have been emboldened. By this I mean BLM, Antifa, and the gangs and cartels of this nation. In Texas alone, there are estimated to be over 100,000 gang and cartel members. Among those are the Texas Mexican Mafia, the Aryan Brotherhood, the Crips, and the Bloods. Without law enforcement, these gangs and cartels will grow in number and run wild. The prepared will have the advantage, but they'll also be a target. This is just a brief overview of what we could possibly expect, and it certainly doesn't include all possibilities. Hopefully this will help us identify where we need to fortify our preps and be better prepared. Just my thoughts. Hill Country Prepper. Thanks.